Overcrowding and abhorrent conditions continue to be a problem in California prisons. Medical and mental health care is so bad that the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ordered the state to release 40,000 inmates simply to improve the care. Forget about your individual safety. Oh, the inmates have rights. But finally, a dose of sanity. The U.S. Supreme Court will hear arguments that the Ninth Circuit Court overstepped its authority. Joining us to talk about it, we'll crack open another case of the Feldman files with a veteran investigative reporter, Charles Feldman. Hey, Charles, how are you?
How you doing, Fred?
Good, okay. Inmates deserve to be treated as fairly as possible. Can we both agree to that?
Yes, they do, and in most places, except sometimes California, they are.
Okay. That being said, they should not be treated as fairly as possible at the expense of public safety. Is that fair to be said?
Yeah, I think that is, but I don't think that that's what this case is really about. I think nobody is seriously suggesting that somebody convicted of, say, murder be set free because the prisons in California are overcrowded, which, of course, they really are. We're talking, for the most part, about criminals who are not in for what many would consider very significant crimes. Many are in because of the 3 strikes and you're out laws that went into effect years ago.
Yeah, but certainly 3 strikes and you're out. 3 strikes, you deserve to be in.
Well, it depends. And, in some cases, the classic story of the guy that got life because his 3rd strike was, stealing a piece of pizza or something like that. So, everything has to be looked at in the context of what makes sense. And so, yeah, if you have 3 strikes for murder, that's one thing. If your 3rd strike happens to be that you stole something from the store, do you deserve to really be packed into a prison that's overcrowded with poor medical conditions just because of that?
Well, I'll only say this. If you've been convicted of a crime twice, and then you go steal a piece of pizza, you're still a criminal. You shouldn't have done it, and you should have known better.
But you're a hungry criminal.
Oh, who can argue? Okay. A recent article in the New York Times suggested that Austin Buettner may be getting closer to deciding to run for mayor in 2013. Recently, I spoke with Mr. Buettner about that.
I think the city needs to change. I think it's a good time for somebody with the right set of leadership skills, the right set of experiences to bring new ideas, fresh ideas, and a way of getting things done. At the same time, the election is 2013, it's 2010. We have 3 years. I think people ought to be working pretty hard now to solve the problems. And if the city does nothing, if we stay in the same situation for 2 or 3 years, heaven help the next mayor who comes in.
All right, so he made his money as a Wall Street investment banker. Now he's in charge of 13 city agencies here in L.A. I know it is very early, but would he be someone that could turn this city around, Charles?
Well, it's sort of the Meg Whitman argument, isn't it? Here's a guy who's from the world of business. What he's saying is, I'm sort of outside, although he's working in City Hall. But essentially, he's an outsider. And what he's saying is that I may have the business acumen needed to get the city of Los Angeles up and running again. But, running a business, as Meg Whitman found out, is not the same thing as being a political leader. There is one example that you could look at, which is, of course, Mike Bloomberg, the mayor of New York City.
Right.
He, of course, did come from the world of business. He's done a pretty good job of running New York City, but he's also a very arrogant man and is not, in his, 3rd term now, particularly well-liked by New Yorkers because he is perceived as being a very rich, arrogant businessman.
Well, I think it's a valid point, and certainly this is something we'll keep an eye on as we get closer to 2013. Charles, terrific. Great job. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks.
Take care.